Over the last couple of months, guys, I've bought about 150 used bikes off the market. We use them as part of our dealership or our model where we lease them out into our fleet. So I've purchased all the most popular bikes in the country, learned a ton about used bikes. We're going to do a video here on what it really costs to own a used bike. I've got the paperwork from a lot of the bikes, a service history from a lot of the different makes and models, different dealerships than our own. So we can go through and look at what it really costs to own a Japanese or a well-known bike compared to the Brap, and also just generally what it looks like to purchase a used bike versus a new bike. So let's get to it. So the sample data we're going to take from today, we've purchased used Brap bikes, that's our own brand. We've got the Honda CB650F, we've got the KTM Duke, we've got the Kawasaki 400 Ninja, electric Brap, electric 390 Duke from KTM, another electric Brap, 500 Honda CBR, ER6N from Kawasaki, adventure bike, Honda CB650. Man, we've really purchased a great sample. CF Moto 650. We tried to get all the most popular bikes in the country into our fleet. It's an awesome program. You can lease a bike, swap between bikes for free and trial types of bikes. That's heaps popular. But today's focus is to talk about if you purchase, especially a used bike, what it's going to cost to get the thing on the road, Roadworthy's, Red Joe, and then we're going to go through the service papers of some of the bikes we've purchased, see what people pay for services. Yeah, we bought tons of bikes over the last few months and we've learned a lot, especially the ones we buy as many as we can from wholesale partners because it's such a pain in the ass to go to the private market. So I'm just going to share the top few things that I've learned by buying over 150 bikes over the last few months. Hopefully it helps you if you're looking to get into motorcycling, if you're looking to get a new bike, if you're looking to purchase a used bike, or if you're considering do you lease it or do you come and buy a new bike from us. So hopefully this helps. So first of all, let's look up, we purchased this KTM 390. I think this is one of the best ones to look at first. I actually haven't opened up. We purchased this 390 from a guy named Sandeep up in New South Wales. He's in Marsfield. So I thought when we purchased the bikes, we get all their service receipts from their service history. I thought we'd just open it up and have a look. So I'm doing this off the fly. But this guy here, owned the bike for a couple of years. We purchased this thing here. It is a 2014 390 Duke. So his first service, not his first service, but the first service I've got record of, 2018 in June. Air filter, oil filter, spark plug, chain, workshop oils, sundries, and labour. Cost him 691 bucks. So you can see that there. Highway performance bikes. I'm not knocking anyone, by the way. I don't know who these guys are. I'm not saying that it's expensive or cheap or anything like that. I'm just giving you the facts so you can make an assessment and understand what it looks like to buy a used bike and to own it. So this guy's done 690 bucks worth of general service work there. He did say that his repair request on this KTM was service the bike, check there's an engine noise, check the chain, it seemed like it had a tight spot, fit a different screen, check the brakes, and his clutch lever had rattled loose. So there was a bit of stuff for the boys at Highway up in Rockdale, so they fixed that up for him. His next service that I've got on here, January 21 is the next one on my list here. So he just had a general service at Motorcycle Empire in Sydney, and it cost him 390 bucks to get all fluids, chain tightened up, and his handlebars were a little bit out of alignment. So pretty basic service there. So you can see there at the moment, this is costing between $390 and $690 for a service. We kind of recommend doing a service like every 3,000 Ks. And for us at Brap, we charge our guys around at Kookaburra Street, which is my dad's workshop. So full disclaimer there. They start at about 165 for a basic safety check overlook. Obviously, if you're going to get more, it's going to cost you more. So keep that in mind. Then he's gone over to, he must have moved, or maybe the bike got sold because he's gone over to Cyclecraft in Bondi. He's had to get a new tyre and yeah, he's just got a new tyre. It's cost him 280 bucks. But he did get a Diablo, so he's put a good tyre on this thing. So the most recent service this bike had before we purchased it was 17th of May 23, cost him $603.80. Basically engine oil, all fluids, brake fluid flush as well, which they recommend, these guys at Zen, every 2 years. Washed the bike, road tested it, recommended a new chain and rear brake pads. So it was 308 in labour, The rest was oils, chains, and parts, so $600 for that. I guess that's a moderate service. That's not a super major service, like not pulling the engine out or anything like that, but doing chains and tires and stuff like that, $600. So, and then we've got another one here. This is from earlier, so August 2022. Front sprockets, lock shims, and also an output shaft seal, then labor, and a new battery. That cost him $592. So that's in August. Interesting. So I just think that's a really interesting view of what it costs to own a KTM 390. That's all the info I've got based on when I purchased it off him. But the thing for me is that if you're gonna go purchase a used bike off the market, there's a few things to consider. Firstly, you got to get it roadworthy, and to get it roadworthy, it's got to meet roadworthy standards. So what we've found is that when we've been going and buying tons of used bikes, they come back here, then you find things wrong with them. You know, maybe the discs are worn out. That's one of the big catches that we found, especially with buying Honda 250s, because a lot of them have got heaps of Ks on them, the ones that we've purchased. The discs needed to be replaced. Found lots of our bikes obviously needed new tyres, brake pads are common, chain and sprockets are common. You can easily blow $500, $600, $700, $800, as you've seen here. Most of his services that needed brake pads and chains were $600, $700, and getting a tyre is $180 plus by the time you include fitment. So something to be really wary of when you're buying a used bike is that you do have to pass a roadworthy inspection to transfer the bike into your name. Now my perspective is that Victoria is the strictest in the country. Probably shouldn't go out and rag on who's the loosest, but Victoria is the strictest. New South Wales is really strict too. And then the other states seem a little bit more lenient on what passes are roadworthy, but it is important to note, especially in Victoria, you're not going to get anything through unless it's perfect. So if you're buying a used bike, I'd generally say that you should budget between $500 and $1,000 just for unknown, pre-roadworthy work to get the thing ready for roadworthy. Now to get it roadworthy, I'd be budgeting around $150, you know, for the Vic Roads and the mechanic to do the actual roadworthy certificate. It's actually a fair pain in the ass if the guys are on a clock and they have to use their iPads and they can't fudge it in any way in Victoria. So budget, yeah, $150, $200 for a roadworthy. And then also you've got to remember there's the transport. You've got to go get the bike, which we found incredibly painful when buying used bikes, because you've got to go and pick bikes up after hours and talk to a dude on Facebook or Gumtree or bikesales.com.au. And really they're the three places that we go when we're looking for used bikes, but we just have, just make sure that you budget that extra money just to get the thing on the road. And then of course, then there's the risk. So a couple of our horror stories, one of our Kawasaki ER650s, we spent the money to get the thing on the road, did the roadworthy, tyres, chains, sprockets, brake pads, fresh discs, had to get plugs in this one, got it going, and then in the first 300 Ks, the thing's lost its compression. So who knows how much that's going to cost me. So these are just some of the risks of buying a used bike. I'm not fully ragging out used bikes by any means, and that's a big part of the industry. I'm just making sure people understand that if you see a cheap ticket price, you've got to add some risk in there and some extra money. So, you know, even Kyle, who you've probably seen do some of our videos on our YouTube, he just bought a Virago 250, got it pretty cheap, but then it cost him a fair bit because there were unknown issues that the boys had to fix before they could roadworthy it. And you can't convince a mechanic to fudge it or anything, especially in Victoria. It's all recorded, it's got to be proper and roadworthy. And even for him, he had a big catch. This is something that you got to really look out for, is you can't roadworthy a bike with an aftermarket muffler. So that's caught me out a lot on these used bike buying, is you buy a bike, then you got to go find a standard muffler to put on the thing to make it roadworthy. So they can be expensive because they're in short supply. So yeah, keep that in mind. Let's look at something else. This is a Ninja 300, so a great comparison to one of our, say, Brap 400 Moto 4s or Cruiser or the M3 250, or just anyone who's buying a used bike. It's really interesting to see the type of things that have to be changed, especially to Brap customers. We get we really want to specialize in learners. We market that a lot, so we attract a lot of first-time riders. It's our goal, whether it be to lease a bike or buy a bike from us. So often something goes wrong, like, I don't know, chain wears out or something, and their view, they've never had a chain wear out, so they don't understand that's to be expected. And that's what I'm trying to educate you on. Things do get consumed. Tires, obviously, but everyone knows that, but like your brake pads, your chains, but then also things like your discs, all these things have a lifespan, so it's something to be really aware of. Man, if you buy a new bike, I don't think you're expecting to wear things like discs and that out, but if you're buying like this one here, I purchased a 2013 Ninja 300, a great bike, but it's 10 years old, so you're gonna find things that go wrong with these things, and it's good for us to be aware of what it might cost to get a used bike on the road. Also really healthy for us at Brap, because I'm talking to lots of people, first-time riders, to say that this is just general motorcycle stuff. When we tell you to be responsible for your bike and learn to tighten your own chain, learn to check your brake pads, learn to check your tire pressures, learn to be responsible for your bike, we're talking about all bikes, not just Brap bikes. And that often gets confused, and the people on the internet love to hammer us because we are trying to do a very aggressively priced bike at Brap. That should not substitute quality. So we want to create responsible, safe riders whose bikes last a long time, so it's economical. So anyway, this one here, so 1000K service, cost him 264 bucks. This is like 9 years ago, so that's probably going to be costing you 500 bucks at Kawasaki these days, I'd imagine. But everything from adjusting throttle linkages and free play, draining oil, check the lights, adjust the fuel mixtures on this thing and idle, adjust the idle, diagnose ECU, and check a couple of errors which they fixed. They had to check the fitment of some external body panels, so tighten some bolts up. This is all normal motorcycle stuff. This is totally normal. Bike needed 2 pins and 2 split pins, and they've put the part number, I don't know what they are. They also needed a gasket. So it's a bit, this is motorcycles, man. You gotta maintain them. Yeah, so next one here, we have the guys at In Tune Motorcycles in Ringwood. Front wheel, the front bearing collapse, shell, replace bearings, and adjust the steering head bearings too. So, I mean, this is 2016, so the bike was a couple of years old at this point. Front wheel bearing collapsed, and then neck bearings needed replacing. This is normal motorcycle stuff. Things happen, you should expect that. So if you're a motorcycle owner and you get a new bike, I would say that something like that would probably be under warranty. Obviously, you've got to be careful in general in this video, but if you get a new bike, you've got much more confidence because of your warranty period. If you lease a bike, all warranty and things like that is on, and servicing is on us. Not if you crash it, but servicing and wear and tear repairs are on us. If you buy a used bike, it's the risk you take. So keep this in mind. So I'm just trying to educate on things that can happen. Then we've got here the guys at Ghost Rider Motorcycles in Hoppers Crossing. Man, this bike's been all over town. So you've got, this service was just oil filter, minor service, 2017, cost 250 bucks. Again, that's 6 years ago. Prices have gone up since then. Then we've got here another one. Man, this is a big one. So this one cost him 1,087 bucks, again at Ghost Rider. New front tyre, new disc pads, labour to change tyre, major service, oil filter, spark plug, coolant, brake fluid flush, chain and sprocket check, new O-ring chain. Yeah, it goes on, a lock nut of some sort, some bolt had rattled loose, chain guard had fallen off, so got replaced. Had to freight some parts in, so they charged him freight. Check and lube the controls, check battery, give everything basically a check, tighten all bolts. This is normal motorcycle stuff, 1,087 bucks for that service right there. Nothing overly abnormal other than bikes wear out. So I really recommend you learn the basics to be aware, to be responsible. I love small aircraft, and before you go flying, you check everything. But what we find is motorcyclists turn up, don't check anything, ride the bike, chains slapping off it. Like, we really want to help educate, especially new riders, to be responsible for their bikes. I'm banging on about it here today. All right, next service, again, the boys at Ghost Riders. I don't know those guys, but they've done another minor service, so 179. That's a really good price, actually. It is 2016, so I'd imagine that's gone up by now. But basically just a service, change the oils, check everything, pressure checks, so pretty basic stuff there. Clean the chain, adjust the chain, all the basics there. So interesting. That's the only receipts I've got, but I think it just gives you a real insight into what people have to do, what they spend, and if you're looking to buy a used bike, hopefully that gives you some awareness if you've bought a new bike. Hopefully it gives you some appreciation for having a new bike with a warranty. And if you're leasing a bike, hopefully it shows you that there's heaps more value in leasing because we cover all that stuff. So anyway, hope that helps. So we're trying to help you get into motorcycling, and we're here to talk. You can talk to the sales team and ask any questions. Jump on support.brightmotorcycles.com. We'd love to chat. Talk soon. Right.